Yeah, obviously not the outcome we're looking for on the road. Frustrating day offensively, passing game not very efficient, and it wasn't. It was everything. It wasn't. It was not the quarterbacks, not receivers, not the linemen, not the running backs. It was everything. There's times that we had guys open, had opportunities, and didn't get the ball to them. There's times that we had guys open and didn't have time to get the ball to them, and the quarterback got hit on chances for big chunk plays that are certainly game-changing plays and plays we have to make. Everybody in a tight, low-scoring game, we had opportunities to push the ball down the field and get big plays, which we did the week before, which were crucial in our victory, and we didn't execute on those plays. And a credit to Bowling Green on some of them, the pressure, they physically beat us and got to the quarterback. There's other times where, we didn't get the ball out, or we didn't see the guy that was open. So we got to do a better job with our passing game, with our limited opportunities. We did not run the ball very very efficiently the whole day. And again, credit to Bowling Green. Some of it they physically whipped us, beat blocks. At times they were physical. At times it wasn't ID, and it was execution on our point. So again, it wasn't one thing in the run game. When you don't run the ball very effectively, when you have 180 yards of total offense, it's usually there's a lot of different areas. So we've got to have a great week offensively. We got to and get our run game cleaned up. We've run the ball very well. We've been very efficient run the ball, and then we got to make plays in the passing game to complement our run game, and they go hand in hand. Obviously, the run game sets up the pass game. The pass game sets up the run game, and we weren't efficient in either one of them though. Pretty much for 4 quarters. Only positive, did a nice job before the half offensively. When we pinned them down with a punt. We got a nice 3 and out, and got them a short field, and then they got in a little 2-minute drive, and Avion hits Miles for a good throw and catch, and a really nice contested catch by Miles in the back of the end zone. Really good throw, good protection, and so that was kind of the lone bright spot. Defensively, obviously, you're up 13-10. Early fourth quarter, you lose the game 17-13. We always talk about keeping the points down, and we kept the points down. When you give up 17 points, you're gonna win the lion's share of your games. Unfortunately, that wasn't good enough on Saturday. The thing we didn't do well defensively is we didn't get off the field enough. There was only 11 possessions in the game, which is a low possession game. And when you have an offense that was struggling like ours on Saturday, we got to get the ball back to them quicker and give them 2 or 3 more opportunities, and maybe they get one more score, and that's the difference in the win and the loss. So there was a lot of good things on defense from again, keeping the points down, and even their touchdown drives were on some shorter fields. But again, they did a good job of bleeding the clock. They're going for it on 4th down in their own end, and trying to stay on the field. And at times we let drives go on too long. We had opportunities to get off the field, and we didn't execute maybe on a 3rd down and get off the field. And then we got to stop, which is great. And that's what we don't. Typically, you don't worry about, if they move the ball some, but you keep the points off the board, you keep the points off the board. But in that game, we needed a couple more possessions, and I felt like our defense at times were on the field too much, not because of our offense, but just because our defense couldn't get off the field at times. But overall defensive effort, again, hold the team to just over 300 yards, 17 points in college football nowadays, you're going to be pretty good. So, had the one huge pick by Frizz was a huge play. If you win the game, you're talking about a huge play in the red zone on a double move, and he plays it great, makes a great play. He makes another good play. They ran a play action before the first half to set up, and they ran inside vertical, and Frizz comes over and knocks him off the ball, which about 4 plays later, we're in the end zone after the punt. So I really thought he had a nice game for us. We had another missed opportunity with the pick in the red zone, which would have kept 3 points off the board. I don't know if that makes a difference or not, but we got to make that play. But overall defensive effort was solid. It wasn't great. We can definitely do better on that side of the ball. We know we can do better. Special teams was good. We had the pooch that pinned them inside the 10 that set up some points. We caused a fumble to start the second half. We got to take advantage of that fumble and get 7 points there. We get 3 instead of 7. But there were some good things. There's also some bad things. We got, they kicked off into the wind after they scored to make it 13-10, again, field position was crucial in that game, and is crucial the last 4 weeks, has been crucial every game. Field position, field position, field position. It's not, we're not as explosive as we want to be on offense right now. And we return one out to the 12-yard line. Then we go 3 and out, and then we're punting the ball, and they're getting the ball back at midfield. And again, it's all of that makes a difference. So I thought special teams overall was good. But there's some times they could have helped us create. There's times they did help us create field position. Other times that we didn't get as much done field position wise as we want. So moving forward, obviously Western Michigan's coming to town. We know how talented they are. Pretty much everyone in the MAC right now looks about the same as usual, as we say every year, and there's going to be a lot of. So they were 20-14 last week, and they turned the ball over 4 times, and they had a chance. They had a 4th and 1 inside the 15 and got stuffed on 4th and 1. Then they turned the ball over 4 times in the fourth quarter, and the game got out of hand. But it was a close game last week. It was 20, like I said, it was 20-14 going into the fourth quarter. But they're always a talented group. They got returners on defense that are proven good high-end MAC players. They got returners on offense. Their 2 tailback rush for 2,100 yards in our league last year. They combined. Their Crooms had 900 yards receiving. He's a deep play guy. So they've got their normal good pieces. And again, like I said last week, they're looking for the same consistency we're all looking for right now.
All right, questions?
Did Bowling Green throw anything at you offensively or defensively that you didn't anticipate?
Yeah, not offensively. They do a ton of stuff on offense, so it's hard to throw too much new stuff. They have tons of different things. So that offensively, they attacked us a lot of different ways, just like we knew they would. Defensively, they probably pressured more, particularly on rundowns. They pressured us probably more. Not that they do run pressure, we know that, but they probably did it more. Maybe a little more than they do normally, but it's still part of their arsenal. So it wasn't anything unexpected. Probably just more of the volume and than something totally new.
How frustrating is it that you really haven't had that many turnovers, but when there are turnovers, it either results in points or, as you mentioned, field position has been very important.
Yeah. Obviously, we've done a good job taking care of the football. So that's where we're proud of what our offense done with ball security, knock on wood. But yeah, those are obviously, looking back to Buffalo, they returned down to the 1. And again, it always, they fumbled their kickoff, created great field position with us. We got to take advantage of that. Again, with where we're at right now offensively, this is like, again, if you watch the Northwestern game, then you watch the Buffalo game, then you watch the Kent State game, then you watch so all those turnovers, whether it directly leads to points, you got to get points when you get them, and you got to do a good job of forcing field goals when you don't get them. And then, like you said, those are also critical for flipping fields and putting, on a day where neither offense is producing a lot of points, you're 13-10 in the fourth quarter, field position's everything, and they did a better job in the second half after the opening kickoff of the field was kind of tilted against us pretty much the whole second half. And so, yeah, every inch is critical right now for us. And we've played 4 games that are about the exact same game, and we're slugging it out, and our kids are competing and we're fighting, but, we're not. We until we get more explosive offensively, then this is how we're going to have to play and how we're going to have to win.
Backs are kind of against the wall right now. How do you keep your kids from trying to do too much, trying to play outside of themselves, keeping them focused on what they do well?
Yeah, that's a chore every week. I think the bigger for us is just the frustration. Our kids are very frustrated. They're frustrated with the loss on Saturday to Bowling Green. And I don't think it's the same I think kids are frustrated for different reasons. And as I said in the locker room, if you're not unhappy right now and you're not frustrated right now and you're not mad and upset right now, well, there's an issue. All right, now, so you want them to be frustrated and upset and ticked. Now, how you move forward from it is the key. Because if you lose a game like that and you don't feel doesn't bother you, well, we got issues, So it does bother you. Now, how do you handle that frustration? I think that's more the concern this week is, kids are ticked, kids are mad, kids are upset. you know, and like we always say, the natural course of events is to blame, you know, well, it wasn't my fault, it was somebody else's fault, you know, and it's the defense couldn't get off the field, it's the special teams didn't do this, it's the offense couldn't move the ball, it's whatever. There's always, it's always easy to look outside and find a reason why it wasn't, and again, so, but that's normal life, you know, and we always talk about the beauty of team sports, the beauty of football, and the beauty of 70 guys going against 70 guys, and and being a part of a corporation, it's like, it's hard, you know, and it's hard, but the best chance for success is to, okay, yeah, one, you gotta, we always talk about 24 hours of, okay, win or loss, excited about the win for 24 hours, really mad about the loss for 24 hours. You gotta go through that enjoyment of what you accomplished or the grieving of what you didn't accomplish. You got to go through that process. And then, okay, now it's what did we learn? What didn't we do well? And you start with the coaches. You start to look at everything we're doing on OD and special teams like we do every week. What was good? What was not good? Did we put our kids in the best situation? Did we not put our kids in the best situation? Did we think that was going to be good, but it didn't turn out to be good? Why wasn't it good? Was it execution? Is it something we can do better next week? We just got to execute and practice it. Did we practice? You know, we talked about they ran some inserts. We probably didn't rep the inserts. The inserts didn't kill us, but it did bleed some clock. They got some first down on some insert runs, which we knew they run, and we repped it. We probably didn't rep it as much because we didn't play them as well as some of the other runs. So it's like, okay, well, this week we're going to make sure that as the game went on, we actually fit them pretty good, but it's like we gave up some possessions by letting them bleed some clock. So you're looking at things, and then how did we prepare? And it's easy to say, well, they know how to play that, but if they didn't play it well, then they weren't prepared enough to play it that well. So we look at our preparation, what we do as coaches. So, and then we always talk about, like we always say, it's adversity. Like you can't worry about you're in a hole. You can't worry about the big picture. You got to worry about playing well this weekend and beating Western Michigan. That's what we got to worry about. And what gives you the best chance to, you know, pouting, blaming, pointing the finger, that doesn't give you the best chance to beat Western Michigan. So if your goal is to beat Western Michigan, you got to find a way. Hey, I'm driving on the bus while home. I want to slam my computer through the front windshield. You know, I mean, that's real. Like, so anyone who has frustrations, like, okay, well, you shouldn't be frustrated. Bull. You should be frustrated. If you're not, like, we put all this time and energy into this, and you're not frustrated after a gut-wrenching loss, like, you got to, like, at least 10 times I thought, I'm going to stand up and slam my computer through the front of this bus. And then at some point you go, okay, we can't do that. But that's what you want to do, you know? So and we all handle it different ways, and we all, you know what I mean? And then how do you move on? How do you take the next step? How do you move on in a positive manner? And how do you learn, like, because moving on part is learning from some stuff you didn't do well as a player and a coach. Well, we thought this was going to be good. It wasn't. Why wasn't it good? Well, turns out that we thought the spacing was going to be good here. The space was good. We thought we repped the insert enough. We didn't rep the insert. It's a two-way street. And so we try to be accountable to everything we do. We try to never make excuses. We try not to, you know, it's like, I thought some kids did some really good things in the game, and I compliment them on Sunday, and they don't want to hear a compliment because we lost, you know, which I like, but it still doesn't take away. We could have won 13-10, and then we'd be raving about what you did. But because we lost 17-13, you weren't really part of the last touchdown. Like, it doesn't take away from how you played, you know. So there's still positives. So we try to always critically evaluate and keep our frustrations aside when we really look at what we're doing. Because if you do, then you just start blaming. I do the same thing. I'm blaming, blow the whole thing up, and get mad at this and get mad at this. And there's plenty of things as players and coaches we need to do better, and we're going to keep working on doing it. But field position and how we handled the field position, we did not handle that as well as we needed defensively in a couple instances on special teams, and then certainly on offense. And we're all like, well, we didn't give our offense. Part of his offense, you get the ball in the 20, you drive it out to the 50 and punt, and you flip the field. You've created field position probably for the next time you get the ball. All right, and that's the drive before the half. We drove. Yes, we stalled. We didn't want to stall before the half, but we did stall. But we punted from their 42, and then our punt team does a good job. Our defense does. What happens to our offense? They get the ball back in midfield or the 44-yard line. So the field position is like, well, who creates field? We all create field position. Every single play creates it, and again, that's a perfect example. When we created good field position, we got 7 points, and we need to create more of it throughout the game, and we need to create more possessions.
Marshall hasn't had a lot of catches, but of the ones he has had, they've been pretty key grabs. And that pitch and catch up at Bowling Green was pretty good there Saturday. What do you feel are the strengths that he brings to the game?
Yeah, well, one, he's big, strong, and athletic. He's a big, strong kid, all right? So he can run, he can catch the ball. We're still getting to know him totally as a wideout. He's a more than willing blocker. Again, there's big, strong receivers that won't block. He's a big, strong receiver that will block and willing blocker. Frustrating thing is we still, like, to me, there's so much more out there as a receiver that we don't even know because we're not throwing the ball around as efficiently as we need to. We're not throwing the ball. So there's not, I think we have some wideouts that really can do things. We're not, for where we're at right now, we're not getting as many balls thrown as complete as we need. So they're not being able to impact the game as much as we like. So I think he's done good with his opportunities. I'm excited to get him more opportunities as we continue to move forward through the second half of this year.
Coach, I just want to ask you about Cancer Awareness Week. It's something you've always done a really good job of just keeping life in perspective about football, but also just about cancer. You just talk a little bit about this week for you.
Yeah, it's been an awesome week for our group. Selfishly, what we get out of it. We've joined Coach Oach has done a great job of hooking us up with the Leukemia Society, and then we've hooked up with a couple families that have kids that have dealt with this and are doing great right now. But what we get out of it of participating is exactly what you're talking about. It's appreciation and perspective of life and how fortunate we are. And I remember the first one we ever did, we were 0-6 in year 3. And before our 7th game, we went down to Cincinnati and we did the night walk, Night for Light, or whatever they call their walk down there. And again, it was like, okay, you're 0-6 in year 3, you're 5-24 at that point, pretty much left for dead, and you're still trying to tell your kids, like, okay, whether you're 0-6, 5-24, or 24-0, like, do you do things to support other people? Do you do things to provide awareness? To when Miami football goes down to Cincinnati and there's 40, 50, 60 people down there, it brings heightened awareness. We're not more important than anybody else that's there, but the fact that we're a Division I football team, we're there, it brings heightened awareness to. And as I always say, when you do good things, all right, and you participate in good events, and you support good causes, and you get notoriety, you don't do it for the notoriety, but the notoriety is important because that spurs other people to do good things. It creates opportunities for, hey, well, maybe if they're doing, why don't we get, that sounds like a really cool thing to be involved with. Why wouldn't we do that? And again, if you don't get any notoriety, then people don't know, and you like to do things, under the radar. But sometimes, I would say, when you're doing good things, why do it under the radar? Let's let other people see what you're trying to do, and you're doing it in season. Well, you can't do it in season. Then, COVID hit, and you couldn't do it, and it was like, and then last year we did it here in Yager Stadium, and it was awesome. It was just as awesome. We're still hooked in through the Leukemia Society. We encourage, we're going to be out there this Thursday night, and we're going to walk, and we encourage everybody to join us. This isn't a Miami football thing. Yes, Miami football is, Matt Yochis is organizing and running and doing all the groundwork for it. So yes, it's a Miami football event, but this isn't, when you do things like this, it's nothing you're trying to do to be like, you want everybody, girlfriends come, friends come, people from the dorm come. If you don't know anybody at Miami football and you just heard about it, and as we always say with cancer, like, if you haven't been inflicted by it, you're going to be. Like, it's just the way it is. So we put the bags out there, and, in remembrance, you put the bags out there for people that are fighting, and it's an awesome thing to be a part of. It's very, very uplifting and sad all at the same time. You feel a lot of different emotions when you're there, and if you don't, then I question who the heck you are. Like, you probably go see somebody. So we had other athletes come, we had other people come, we had administrators come, and this isn't a Miami sports event. This is something. Yes, Miami football is not really Miami football. Man, Yochis is organized, does all this work for it, but the rest is just come and raise money, raise support, raise awareness, grieve. Smile, laugh, cry, all the different things that we'll go through Thursday night when you see the different people and some of this. So it's one of the best things we do, and we're a part of. I appreciate Matt, that Matt does all the work for this and has tied us into some awesome people, and you meet new people and great relationships. And again, you don't just do it when things are going. It doesn't matter to us. It's like if you believe in it, you do it. If you don't believe, you don't do it. Like, and again, we always tell our kids, you don't have to come. Don't come to a cancer awareness event because you feel like you have to. Like I always hate the mandatory. This is mandatory for all football students. Like, really, like, to me, it's always like you want to, and I know there are some mandatory things you have to do, parentheses and delay, but I'm saying when you have things like this, it should always be, you don't want anybody there moping around not happy to be there. Like, that's not what this is about. This is about celebration, remembrance, and appreciation and awareness and raising money and all that. So, we don't want people that aren't excited to be there and be a part of it. But we welcome everyone. Anyone listening can come out Thursday night to Yager Stadium. We'd love to have thousands of people there. It'd be awesome.